I'm gonna file for last year, 2023. Whose tax return? I've already set up Peter Doe, my fake people here. So instead of going into mine, I'm gonna go into his. Okay. They want to know this guy's first name. Peter. Whoops. I'm trying to type with one hand. It's not very good. Peter. Doe. D-O-E.
So if you do a tax return, don't type in Peter Doe.
Oh,
No,
please,
type in your own
no.
name. Don't put in this guy's name. Don't use what I gave you to do your own tax return. This is just an
Yeah.
example. Yeah. So far, as long as you know your name, you're good to go. And then, this is a question. Would you like support from a tax expert? And if you're like, I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure. And then say next. Oh look, here are my options. Pay what you want. Yes, even $0. So here's one of those ones that you don't have to pay any money for in order to file. If you want some extra support, oh wait, normally they charge $40. Maybe I do want extra support because they're not going to charge me, right?
Wow.
And then there's another tier where they give you like all of the support, but they are going to charge you for that one. So if you feel like I've got something really complicated here, or I'm just totally clueless, you can pay $80 plus tax, and they'll give you all the support. But I think I'm pretty sure what I'm doing, so I'm going to say pay what I want. Go down here and select. All right. Date of birth. I don't think you can see that on what you have here, but I've got the information, because surely to heavens Peter knows his own birthday. So I'm going to do what do we got here? Year first, 1989, and he so happens to be a New Year's baby, 0101. Next question. Where did you live and what was your marital status on December 31st, 2023? Well, this guy happened to live in PEI along with the rest of us, and he's married to a lovely lady named Sally. So I'm going to say
The
that
province
he's married.
is important because every province has different rates and different credits. So if you put the wrong province in, you're gonna get the wrong tax return. Sorry,
Yeah.
Cindy, I
No,
never
no
thought of
worries.
that.
So here are all your different options for telling them whether or not you're married. Because depending on which ones you select, you might get different options. But this gentleman happens to be married to Sally, so I'm going to choose married. Next. Now, this guy's fake, but if you have a CRA My account, this is where you can do that autofill thing, where it'll bring in all of your T4s and your other income slips that have been sent into CRA, and you don't have to type out all that stuff. So that's where there is a big advantage of having that CRA My account already set up. But this is a fake guy, so I have to skip this step, unfortunately. We're going to do the whole thing manually. All right.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Since if you're married and you click on that option, you will bring your spouse information as well. When you click the option of link my information with my CRA.
Yeah, I believe that it'll ask you to log in to both.
Okay.
Again, I'm not married, so I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
It happens the same night. When you start you are able to see the both names.
Okay.
So you need to start with yours, for instance, because I have used this, and the first is my name, so I fill everything with my name and I link my account. Then when I finish mine, I go to the beginning and I'm clicking his name, in my husband's name, and I link then his account.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're using the computer, it just walks you through. All you're doing is answering questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just walks you right through. So we're gonna add your, help you find credits, okay. Continue. I have, right here for Peter, I have a T4, which you have in your hand, so I'm gonna click that. I also have the FHSA. What code is that one? Under his name. T4 FHSA. So is that on this list? Oh, there it is there. Those are the only two I have, but if you have other ones, it'll list all the different options here. And it'll say what it is, CPP benefits, old
Question.
age.
Here,
Oh,
I'm sorry. I have a T5 form that the bank sent me. I don't know what is that.
Interest.
Yeah, that's for interest.
Interest?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's all in order.
There it is.
So there's a
there.
T5. So if you have a T5, you click this, like, yes, I have that. Or what else do people tend to have? Oh, that's the main stuff. But a lot of this is for if you're retired,
Yeah.
old age, CPP.
But for example, for the students, I don't see here the T22 form.
Yes, later it will ask you, were you a student?
Okay.
And then if you say yes, then it will give you the options.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are the only two that Peter happens to have, because
Okay.
we're doing Peter's right now, the T4 and the T4 FHSA. So I'm gonna go down here and say, add to return. What other types of income? He didn't get any gains or losses from trading stocks or selling properties, so I don't need to check that. He wasn't renting to anybody and getting income from there, so I don't need to check that. And he wasn't doing a business, so I don't need to check that, but these are other ways that you can have income. So if you have those, you check them and say add, but Peter doesn't have these things, so I'm gonna say none of the above. What was your employment status? Peter happened to be employed, which is why he has a T4. He didn't have his own business, and see, here's your option, I was a student. So if you were employed and you were a student, you could check both. And then it would give you the options for students. But Peter doesn't happen to be a student, so I'm just gonna check that he was employed. I'm gonna say next. Which of these statements apply to me? I had children or dependents. He didn't own a home because he's contributing to the FHSA, so we know he doesn't own a home, or else he wouldn't be able to contribute to that. He had medical-related expenses, and he also made donations. So I'm gonna check off all of these things and say next. All right, they found 10 credits and deductions that I might wanna add. So now, it says you can have more later. So child and child giver credits, expenses, and all that exciting stuff. Yep.
How
sorry.
can you prove the payment of your daycare?
The daycare will give you a receipt, or you can ask for a receipt for how much you paid into the daycare. But unless the CRA asks to see the backup information for your return, as long as you have to keep it, but you won't have to show it to anybody unless they ask you for proof.
Okay, but it's like a monthly something, no, it's not like official receipt that you can find in your CRA?
No, No, in my CRA, you can only find the stuff for your income. Yeah, anything like childcare expenses, medical care expenses, charitable donations, that does not go there. You have to keep those receipts yourself. Yeah. So did this guy have any of this stuff? No, he worked at Walmart. He wasn't busking or anything as a musician. He did donate to charity and has an unclaimed amount. Did pay out-of-pocket medical expenses. Lower income and not earned business or employment income. I'm gonna check that. He did pay professional dues, union dues, so I'm gonna check that. And that's another thing that you would have to have a receipt for. That doesn't, it can show up on your T4, but not necessarily. So just keep your receipts for something like that, union dues or professional professional dues, like I'm an accountant, so I have to pay professional dues. So if I pay those out of my own pocket, I just keep the invoice as proof.
But if the company pays for you.
If the company pays for it, you can't claim it, because you didn't pay that out of your own pocket. So in my case, my company pays for that, because they're getting the benefit, so I can't claim that. But if I decide to be cheap one year and make myself pay for it out of my own money, then I could claim it for that year. And he doesn't have a disability. See, this is what Dick was talking about. You need to get that form and send it to CRA in order to say, yes, I qualified for this disability amount. Before you can say, I qualify, you have to send this form, that's the number of the form, and send it to CRA. Or else you'll be in trouble if you try to claim it without filing that form. And this guy is not political, so he did not donate to a political party, but you can get a reduction if you donate to a political party in Canada. Other credits. Yes, he did some RRSP stuff. And this is another one that's interesting. Did he have a digital news subscription to a qualified Canadian journalism organization? Up to $500 credit for that, if you're a news buff. So I'm gonna say add these things to my return for Peter. All right, we're gonna finish the return, go through each section step by step, add more info. Excellent. This is if I had a NetFile access code, but this guy's not real. So you can find that on your notice of assessment. But this guy's not real, so I'm not putting it in there. All right, his address. This is clearly very fake. 190 Main Street. Oh wait, that's not it. Street number, 190. Main Street. In Stratford, which doesn't have a main street, so that's why we know this guy's fake. And he lives in PEI. And his number happens to be 902 569 1111. Apologies if somebody's actually have that number. This guy is living in Canada, so he doesn't have a non-Canadian mailing address. Were you a Canadian resident for all of 2023? Peter happened to be one, but not everybody is. But for him, I'm going to say yes. So for the entire year of 2023, he lived in Canada. In which province or territory did you live on December 31st? PEI. And this is if you moved. If you moved to a different province or territory in 2023, then you have to say what date you moved. But he lived here for the whole year, so I'm not going to put anything in there. Is your home address the same as your mailing address? In this case, yes. My parents, their mailing address is in Charlottetown, but they live in Stanhope. So in that case, they would say no, because they have a mailing address in Charlottetown, a P.O. box. And in which province or territory do you currently live? He still lives in PEI. So this we filled out before he was married. Do you want to prepare your returns together? Yes, he does, because almost always, if not always, it's a better idea. I'm not married to that guy. It's a different one. I'm not married to Peter, though. So it's going to be someone else. And the partner's name is Sally. S-A-L-L-Y. D-O-E. Yeah. Create and link. Yay, we're linked. That's always a good thing when you're married. There's Sally Doe. Did we change? Like, did we get married this year? No, we didn't get married this year. We've been married for a while, so I'm going to say no. Do we have dependents? Yes, we answered that before. Do you have children in shared custody? So if you're divorced and you're sharing custody of your child, but these people are still married, so I'm gonna say no. Other stuff they have to ask, general questions. Are you filing an income tax return with CRA for the first time? In this case, no. But if this is your first time, you would say yes. Are you a Canadian citizen? Peter and Sally happen to be citizens, so I'll say yes. As a Canadian citizen, do you authorize CRA to give your name, address, date of birth, and citizenship to Elections Canada? So this means that they're gonna automatically register you to vote as a citizen, if you say yes. So you don't have to go through any rigmarole. This is another advantage of filing your tax return. You don't have to go through all that rigmarole in order to get registered to vote. So I'm gonna say yes. And that way I don't have to do all that stuff. It just automatically gets done for me. Are you a person registered under the Indian Act? Now this is for Indigenous people, Indigenous Canadians. Peter Doe is not Indigenous, so I'm gonna say no. Because there are tax benefits if you are an Indigenous Canadian. Property and things that I may have invested in. Do I have foreign property? More than 100,000 Canadian dollars. Peter does not. But if you do, if you happen to own stuff in another country, you have to say yes, if it's worth more than $100,000. Did I dispose of my principal residence, like my house that I'm living in? Well, they don't have a house, so the answer is no. They're still renting. New for 2023, did I flip a property? Now, flipping a property means you buy a house as an investment, fix it up, and then sell it to somebody else. And that way, that's how you make money. This is a new thing this year because we have a housing shortage. They're trying to cut down on this kind of stuff, so there's extra taxes you have to pay if you're doing that. But this guy did not do that. So the answer is no, he did not flip any properties.
What if you use a part of your house for investment? I mean, if you rent a room or you rent a basement,
Yep, that was earlier, where it said, do you have rental income?
but it's not a flip?
No, flipping is it, like I live in my own place right now. If I went out and bought another house and fixed it up, like a house that was like a pretty cheap house, although how would you find that these days? But if I could find a cheap house, fix it up and sell it for even more than I put into it, that's called flipping a house. So you're doing that to make money. So that's the question here. Did you flip a house? Did you buy a house in order to fix it up and make money from doing it? Yeah. But the rental question that you were talking about, that was earlier when it asked if you had other income, rental income, there you would say yes. Yeah. Did you open a first home savings account? This guy did, because he has the T4 FHSA. So I'm gonna say, yes, I did. Were you confined to a prison for a period of 90 days or more in 2023? This guy was not. I'm gonna say yes, just so I don't have problems later. And I'm gonna say not yet, 'cause otherwise I might have problems, because this is not a real person. So this is another opportunity for you to connect with the CRA My account. This is if you're doing stuff from crypto. And now, does your common law partner? Does your partner have infirmity or disability? I'm having problems reading that. No, my partner does not. Check here, if you can't claim the amount for your partner, I can claim. Did we live together for all of 2023? Yes. Well, see here, we'll automatically transfer your partner's eligible unused amounts for this line here on tax return. And you can click that you don't want it done, but most of the time when they're doing it, it's for your benefit to reduce how much you're getting paid. So I'm not gonna check that. This is where they're gonna ask about my dependents, because they have one child. The child's name, happens to be Fred. That's his last name, right, Doe?
Yeah.
E. Relationship to Peter, because we're still working on Peter's. Fred is my child. Date of birth. Oh, they get me to click on this. 2015,
Sí, sí.
October 1st.
Mhm.
Uh-oh. I want to sing for this kid.
10011.
I'm scared it'll give me a thing, so just, this is my sin. Net income, he's 9, he didn't make any money, put 0. Did he have an infirmity or disability? No. Do they have fitness or any arts expenses for Fred? No. But if you paid for like dance classes, or if you took him to an arts camp or something like that, then you can claim some of that as a credit.
And the after school.
Ah, mira,
Yeah.
first
Down
school.
below.
Do you have any adoption expenses for Fred? No, he was, our own child that got birthed by us. Claim the PEI amount for dependent children. Claim eligible. Yes, claim if eligible, so that's already there. Child care expenses. Did we have child care expenses? We sure did. So I'm gonna say yes.
Wow.
Name of the child care provider. These are those things that you don't have on your MyCRA account that I'm pretending that I have a receipt from Mary's Daycare.
Y lo hace bien.
You don't need that.
I don't need that, but if you happen to have it, then you can put it in there. Boarding school or overnight camp, no, this is daycare, not overnight. But let's say you did send them to Camp Sagi or something like that, then that could qualify as part of your child care. Or there's a boy in our church here who goes to boarding school over in Nova Scotia, because he has special needs that they help him with, so in that case, his mom would be able to say yes. Mary's Daycare, how many weeks? Oh, only complete field if it's for boarding school or overnight camp. Oh, okay, this is daycare, so I don't need to fill that. Eligible expense is, we'll find it here.
You might have to open that, add another expense and get the,
I think this was the one that was 2,000, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't use it.
So that's for 2,000. That's what they paid for daycare. And then if you have another expense, like if they did go to camp or something like that, you just click add other expense. Or if you have more than one child, you would click add another dependent. But they only have one child. So I'm not gonna click on those.
Would you open that, add another expense? I just wanna see it, Cindy.
Yeah, it just adds another line.
Okay, no, that's good.
And then I can remove my empty rows if I don't want it there. So they're asking if I'm saving for my child's education. This is a registered education savings plan. And if you kick in some money, the government will match it up to a certain amount. But right now they're saving for a house, not for Fred's education. So I'm not gonna save anything or say anything with that.
It would have no effect on the tax return anyway.
No, but they're just asking if you're doing it, because it is a way for you to get some more help from the government to save for your child's education. All right, it says here Peter has a higher net income than my partner. So they must claim the child care deduction, unless an exception applies. Exception applies, only fill out this section when both returns, oh, okay, I don't need to fill that out yet. Employment income. Finally, we're at the forms that I gave you, okay? Employer name. This is still for Peter. This gentleman worked at Tim's. Tim Hortons. See, this is the part you wouldn't have to do if you import all of your stuff from my CRA. Tim Hortons Canada. The great thing about these is they all have numbers. So, 10. If you look on your form, 10 is PE. PE for Prince Edward Island. That is helpful if you type while I talk, because I clearly can't type. Like, EZ, no, that's not what I said. There. And if you tab over, this is if you're CPP or EI exempt. Most people are not. If you're over 65, you can be CPP exempt, so they don't keep taking CPP off your check. But that's only if you're old, but these people are not old. Right, Dick? You're old?
Yeah.
So we're gonna skip over to 14, and box 14 is $40,000. Do you see that there? Employment income of $40,000. Box 16, that's where you get complicated, 2,171, 2171.28. And that's how much his employer took off his check for CPP. Next, we are going to go to box 22. This is for how much his employer deducted from his check for income tax. So it's an even 4,000. Next, we are going to 24. So 24 is for how much of your income is eligible for being insured for EI, employment insurance. There's a maximum on that if you hit, then you don't have to get the EI taken off anymore, but he didn't happen to hit it, so it's his full amount, $40,000. Next is 26. So that's for your CPP or QPP if you're in Quebec, pensionable earnings. And because he's not exempt from CPP and he didn't hit the maximum, it's going to be $40,000 for that, because there's a maximum that you can take off for CPP. Next box is 44. This is his union dues. I didn't realize that Tim Hortons does unions.
Yeah.
They do unions? Okay. So he had to pay $500 to his union. So remember we were saying before, you get a credit if you pay in for union dues or professional dues. So he happens to have one. And then for,
So
oh, we skipped 20. Yes.
what about 17, 18?
Yep, 20. He has 1,000 for his registered pension plan. So he's doing a pension plan through his employer.
18.
Yep, 17 is blank, so you don't
Yeah.
have to put anything in
And then-
there.
and
And 18, if I can find it. Oh, we missed 18.
Yep.
18 is $652 even. Yep. And 46 is empty. 50 is also empty, although it probably shouldn't be. 52 is 2,500 even.
Box 17 is Quebec pension plan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry, 17 is for Quebec and he's in BEI.
Yep.
And just check everything over, 55 doesn't have
Blank.
that. Because that's for Quebec as well, 55 is for Quebec, 56 is for Quebec. 29, is there anything in there? No, he doesn't have a special employment code. And there's no other boxes down in the bottom where it says other information, down at the bottom.
Sometimes down the bottom, like if you might have that health plan premium, and it might be box, I don't know what the box would be, but box 49, it might be healthcare plan. So it's just for reference, and when you put that in, it would automatically go to the sheet where all your health expenses are. But
Okay.
this guy doesn't have that.
So I think we got everything on this guy's thing. He only has the one T4 because he only worked at Tim's. So that's good. Okay, FHSA. This is the next page in the handout that I gave to you.
Porque automáticamente
So
ele
the
traz.
name of the payer
Pero
is
se
box
esse indivíduo
60, and it happens to be Bank of Nova Scotia. It's a lot easier when you're typing. 18, box 18, he contributed 2,500. And are there any other boxes that he needs to fill out? No.
Is that, Cindy, that Bank Nova Scotia payer? Is that what-
It's what it says.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
issuer of the plan.
Yeah,
I don't know why they call it the payer,
yeah.
but that's what it's called on the form. so
Payer would be Peter, wouldn't
You'd think.
it? But it's on his tax return, so it's fine.
Were any of your contributions from box 18 made after making a qualifying withdrawal? No, because he did not withdraw anything from his FHSA. They're still trying to save. All right, what's next? Canada's worker benefit. Refundable tax credit for lower income individuals and family. Okay. Do we want to claim it? Why not? I'm gonna say yes. Am I eligible for the disability? No, we don't have disabilities. Is your partner an eligible spouse? I believe so, because she has a lower income than Peter does. Does your partner qualify for the disability? No, she does not. Do you have an eligible dependent? Yes. Are you an officer or a servant of another country, such as a diplomat or a family member or employee of such a person? Don't have to pay tax? No, I have to pay the tax, so I have to say no. Next, donations and gifts. They happened to donate $1,000. And we'll say to a charity, which is what most of it's gonna be, but they have other ones if you donate to a university or the United Nations or whatever. And we'll say Queen Elizabeth Hospital, I guess. Or just put QEH. Yeah. Do you have any unused donations and gifts to carry forward? No, this is the first year they were able to donate, so I'm gonna say no. Did you donate any capital or depreciable property in 2023? This is where you can donate, like, if you have a piece of land, you can donate it. This is where Dick was talking about if you have stocks that you donated to a charity, but he's not that rich, so he's gonna say no. And the union professional or like dues, see, it pulled it down when I entered it for the T4, it pulled it down in there. So that's handy, and I didn't have any other stuff for him. Medical expenses. Medical expenses were $1,800. Yeah. Okay, so whose medical expenses are these? I'm gonna say they're Fred's. He decided he was gonna like jump off the monkey bars and mess up his teeth big time. So Fred Doe is my child, under 18, because he's 9. And my description is dental expense. He made a big mess of his teeth. It's regular expense, yep. For $1,800. Did I travel at least 40 kilometers one way from my home to get the medical services that weren't available closer to my home? In this case, no, but this is what we were talking about earlier. If you have to go off the island for medical, then you would say yes.
Actually, Summerside qualifies.
Oh yeah,
You know,
Summerside
if it put me
qualifies.
on the island, but any more than, I had to go to Summerside for some tests a few years ago. I claimed it.
RRSP contributions, did he do that? No, he did not. He only did the FHSA. They really want that new home. So he did not contribute. And the good thing about an RRSP is you can take some out, but you have to repay it over time if you need to go back to school, or it can also help you with your home, buying your home. It doesn't have to be your first home, it can be a home, but you can only do it the one time, I believe, right, Dick?
Yeah.
Yeah, So when I bought my home, there was no first-time home buyers thing, so I wasn't able to do that, so this is what I did instead. And I had to repay that amount over 15 years, but that's another good thing about having an RRSP. You can use it for
And if
education.
you don't repay it in a given year, they'll just say it was 15,000 you took out, and you're supposed to pay 1,000 a year for 15 years. If you don't pay it that year, they'll add 1,000 to your income that year. You'll
Yeah,
pay
so you have to
taxes.
pay tax on that 1,000 if you didn't pay it back. So I'm gonna say no, I've never used these. I don't have any unused contributions, because I've never contributed to my RRSP. So this is where I get to review and optimize. Errors. My partner's income, oh, I forgot to put in my partner's income, well, that's not good.
25,000, I think.
Yeah. So I have to go back. Yes. Yep. So we're gonna do Sally, or we're gonna say, good? We'll put in Sally, I guess. Yep, we'll do Sally. Sally Doe. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna pay what we want. And select. Yep, she was born in 1990, also a New Year's baby, 0101. Lived in PEI, married, because we've already filled all that stuff out. We're gonna skip this, because this isn't a real person. And we're gonna continue. And she only had a T4, so this one's easy. She only had the T4.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna add that. Didn't have any other, but that's where the rental income would come in if you're renting out your basement. That's where you would check, yes, I had rental income, but she didn't, so we're gonna say none of the above. And she was employed, and that was it for her. And she had children, she had medical, donations. Next. All right, so we're gonna put in child and caregiver. We don't need that one. Donated to charity, yes. Medical expenses, yep. I'm gonna say yes, I want the workers' benefit. She didn't pay union dues. She doesn't have a disability, and she didn't donate to a political party. Neither one of them did the RRSP, and they didn't get a digital news subscription. So we're gonna add those. And then we're gonna say continue. And I don't know why I didn't put in the address since they're married. But anyway, 190 Main Street in Stratford. 902-569-1111. Oh, that's what I did the first time. That's why they're giving me errors. So we're gonna say C1B 0K2. That's my postal code. Yes, she was a Canadian resident. She's from PEI. Didn't change. Don't need to put anything in there. Same as a mailing address. Yes. Currently live in PEI. Married. Yes, there's Peter, all that stuff that we already filled out. Do we have any children in shared custody? No, because she might, but he might not, so she has to say no separately. She filing an income tax for the first time? Nope, she is a Canadian citizen. She wants to be registered for the elections. She's not registered under the Indian Act. Do we own? No, we're all here. Didn't dispose of any principal residences. We didn't flip properties. And we did I didn't, but he did, so I'm gonna say no, because the FHSA is in his name, not
Mhm.
hers. So for her, she would say no, she did not open an FHSA account. Say yes, and we'll be asking you if you wanna do it, and just say not now, no, not yet. Yeah. And not real, so we can't do that. Does Peter have an infirmity? No. Or a disability? No. Yes, we live together. Automatically transferred. Fred is already in there, so that's good. Claim the PEI amount for dependent children. Claim if eligible. Child care expenses for Fred. Yes, it's already filled out, so that's nice. This is the RSP notice again. Child care expenses deduction. Amount of any tax exempt allowance received. No, I didn't have that. Amount of any earnings supplement received that qualifies as earned income. No. If you are the only person claiming these expenses, did you attend an educational program? No. Here's our medical expenses for Fred, who decided to hit his head on the monkey bars and break his teeth. Donations and gifts, that's the charity that we input before. Employment income, oh yes. No, we didn't donate, I didn't donate any capital, Peter didn't, neither did I, we didn't have anything, okay. Sally worked at Walmart. $14 is the employment income, $25,000. PPR, 16, $1,279.25. And 17 is Quebec, so we're not in Quebec. 18 is $407.50. 20, no, she doesn't have a pension from Walmart. That's too bad. So nothing for 20. 22 is $2,500 for her income tax that was deducted. 24, $25,000, because that's her insurable earnings. 26 is also $25,000, that's her pensionable earnings for CPP. 44 is blank, 46 is blank, 50, 52, 55, 56, 29, nope, nothing there. Okay, we're good on that one. Claim the Canada's worker benefit, yep. No, she doesn't have a disability. Is Peter eligible? Yes, we already filled that in. I don't know whether asking this again, because we already said he wasn't disabled, but no. I have an eligible dependent, and I am not an officer or diplomat. Review and optimize. This is where I forgot to put in the postal code on Peter's. So we'll click at that. What's this one? Oh, her social insurance number. I just happen to have another one right here. I'm not gonna tell you whose it is. 121 924 377. English. Ooh. Review and optimize again. Fix it. Oh, what's that note say up there? That error message. Your partner has indicated they will claim the CWB. Oh, only one of you can claim it. I guess I'm gonna say no then. See, this is how the computers prevent you from accidentally claiming
Yeah.
stuff that you shouldn't be claiming. All right, go to errors. Link up. to the address. What? I put mine in. 120-806-005. Unless I typed it wrong. There, postal code C1B 0K2. See, it's good I'm showing you errors too, so you know that if you miss something or make a mistake or whatever, it's
Oh,
gonna.
I see, these are actually showing us where to go.
Oh. Oh, he has the same. Uh-oh. We need 3 SIN numbers. Oh, I'm not prepared for this.
Got us. I just took an arbitrary number.
Sometimes you won't recognize when you put a fake one in.
Hmm.
Yeah, sometimes they will recognize if you put a fake one in, sometimes they don't.
You know, tracks the status over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how you know whether or not, they're gonna give me money, so I'm gonna file right now.
Hmm.
Or, oops, I owe them money, I don't wanna file quite yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, these are warnings, which aren't as dire. If you need to submit any prior year returns, please submit them in order. So that means if you didn't do for past years, you have to do those ones first before you do last year's. But no, we're not gonna do that within the next 2 days. Are you sure you want to file your tax return without entering your access code? Yes, because these aren't real people. But if you put the access code in, if there's ever an issue and you need to call CRA to ask questions, then you just use that access code as proof of who you are. So they know it's not just some random person. Be sure to complete Sally's return. Okay. Yeah, we've already completed. I can ignore this warning. She only has a T4. Didn't move, so that's good. Suggestions. You may be eligible to claim employment expenses if you work from home. We didn't. You may be eligible for digital news subscription. We didn't get that, so we're gonna X that out. If you pay GST or HST on employment expenses, union dues, or professional dues, you may be entitled. We didn't do that. There's no HST on the union dues. Get your refund faster with direct deposit. This is if you have the My account. So it's not real. And then, if you're ready to submit your return, which we are not going to do, because these people are not real, but there should be a summary in there. Yeah, credits and deductions. If you click on that, it'll show you some of the details and who it got applied to. See, the medical expenses all went to Sally because she had the lower income. And the charities went to Peter because he had the higher income. And then the FHSA also went there.
Child care go.
I don't see the child care on there.
There it is. Oh, there's
There we
the
go.
amount.
Yeah, so this is the quarterly amount. They're gonna be ultra generous to us and give us $4.19 for the GST refund.
Mhm.
But we're gonna get that every quarter. That'll buy me a Tim's at my Tim Hortons employment. And we get a carbon rebate of $192.50 and a child benefit monthly amount of $385.50. Now break down the refund for her, the arrow,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, just to see if there's any information in there. Yeah, there's all the details, like what Dick was showing you before on that other thing. That's essentially the same thing. One side is for Peter, the other side is for Sally.
Yeah, the child care is there.
Yep, the child care went on to Sally's. Yep, so that's all the detail that you can look at.
Just
before
leave
you
it there for a
submit.
sec. Look, net federal tax is 1. And provincial tax, okay, Sally's paying more provincial, look at that. She's paying 700 versus Peter's 500, right? It's just the way the calculations are. The opposite for Peter, he pays a little more federal than provincial. Cause they're all based on different rates, and that's why they're never at income levels.
Yep, so then you can see on the line total payable, how much they actually owe for taxes. So Peter's employer only deducted $4,000, so that's why he owes the 200 and whatever it is, I can't see that very well from here. Yeah, and then
What's that, Cindy? Peter
we'll see the total payable.
No, he
Peter,
get- Peter's,
Peter's total payable, it says, is 42,000, and he had 4,000 deducted.
oh, I got you,
Yes.
okay.
And then Sally, she only has a total payable of, what is that, 1,200, 1,300?
13.
Yeah, but her employer deducted 2,500 from hers, so that's why she's getting a refund. Cause she paid too much in, and Peter didn't pay enough, so that's why overall, they're still gonna get a refund back between the two of them.
Yeah, I've never seen this tax form before either, so that's interesting.
I guess you can.
Yeah, and then if you
Follow the
wanna
spreadsheet.
keep a spreadsheet, you can download it there. And that's if you wanna look up all of the detailed stuff that goes into making those numbers.
Hmm.
And then if you're satisfied, you can hit submit, which we're not gonna do. Otherwise, I'd have CRA coming down after me. But are there any questions after all that?
So, a little bit up is where you upload all the documents to.
Yeah, we didn't do that because these aren't real
Yeah.
people, but if you logged into the
Mhm.
My Account,
Mhm.
then it would upload the T4s, the T4 for the FHSA, all that information would be there, you just need to go
And for the
through-
charity, we have to like
For the
upload.
charity, you have to have all those, for medical expenses, you would have to have all
Yep,
those.
yep, yep.
For,
Oh, okay.
childcare, you have to have all that stuff, it's only the income
Yep.
that's automatically sent to CRA.